And please keep that going for Grace Jarvis.
Hello. It's so good to see you all. How you been? Are you well? Yeah. Excellent news. Did anyone get into some weird hobbies during the pandemic? I did. I got very into romance novels and cross stitch. Anyone else? I'm leaning into unrelatable comedy. It's for no one. I got very into romance novels. I've always been a very big reader ever since I was a kid. I love fantasy novels, especially. Like, even now when I was packing for my trip to Sydney, I had to remind myself that I don't need to pack hard bread and cheese for the journey. Like, I'll never forgive fantasy novels for my expectations of what alcohol would taste like. You know, whiskey, not at all like caramel. Fuck you, Tolkien. No, I got very into romance novels, but because nothing bad happens to anyone in romance novels. There's no negative plot. There's no plot. It's just fucking. I got very into it. There's a very specific set of language in the romance novels that I enjoy. They love to describe an erect penis as velvet-wrapped steel. Which is very full on. It's like he's hard. He's not a pillowcase made of ball bearings. I also, I read a lot of them. The words for vagina are not better at all. They're very fond of saying her wetness. Ooh, is she a salamander? Wetness is like a negative on a pros and cons list after you've been to a real estate inspection. It's like, oh, I love those floorboards. Could we live with the wetness? Just asking for legionnaires. My favourite, though, is during the sex they love to say, he buried himself up to the hilt. Which is very intense. Because, like, the hilt of a sword is the straight piece here to stop you from cutting your hand on the blade. But the hilt of a penis is a man. It's just the rest of the man. It's got no safety features. It's the most dangerous thing you could have in your house. Statistically, I'm not for everyone. That's something you realise doing this. Not for everyone. My aesthetic is sort of consistently girl who's about to lose her virginity in a barn. She's nervous. I told my friend recently I was thinking about getting on a dating app, and she said, I always pictured you meeting someone in the woods. What? I feel like there are two things I could be doing in the woods with the crap knees God gave me. Stumbling over a dead body or becoming a dead body. I can't run. During the lockdown, I went along to a psychiatrist. And he diagnosed me with autism. Immediately. Too quick. He was like, how'd you go making friends in school? And I was like, oh, and he was like, autism. I feel like everyone I know went to a psychiatrist during lockdown, got diagnosed with ADHD, got put on speed. I go along, autism. Fucking nerd! No medication for this, it's all me. Now sit down, let me tell you about a very specific pen I enjoy. It's the Uniball Gel Impact. It's my favourite kind of pen. It's weird getting diagnosed with autism as an adult because it's a lot of like looking back at your life and realizing that a lot of stuff makes sense. Like I was a toe walker as a kid, which is one of the criteria. Like if your kid walks on their toes, they're quite often autistic. And my parents noticed, but they didn't do it. Well, my dad bought me some really heavy boots to weigh me down, which I believe is the mafia boss approach to physical therapy. Sleep with the fishes, blend in with others. Did someone say, "Oh"? I did a gig the other night and I was like, "Oh, I got diagnosed with autism," and the whole crowd went, "Oh." I was like, "It's not terminal." It will not be the death of me. I'll just eat my pasta real plain. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be so fine. I remember in primary school I was doing this project on Steve Irwin. And in the middle of me doing the project on Steve Irwin died. And I was really upset. Because I had to change the tense in my project. From is to was. Superb empathy developing there. Also, it turns out I'd been diagnosed with autism much earlier, but my mum had, like, written the guy off. She was like, "No, my daughter's normal." She keeps telling her teachers that she feels like a cartoon character in a movie about real people. Normal! The sound of Velcro makes her want to rip her skin off and set herself on fire. Normal! I went to see this guy when I was 16, and my GP had diagnosed me with two things that I do have, which is anxiety and depression. Spot on. The cool ones. Childhood anxiety as well, vintage. But this guy, it turns out his credentials were less than legitimate, and he took some wild stabs. He went with number 1, autism, and he was right. We circled back on that, and he was right. And number 2, narcissism. And I just don't know who else he wanted me to talk about. It was therapy. I've been Grace Jarvis. Thank you so much.
Make some noise for Grace Jarvis, everyone. And please welcome